What's the lowest ever cash offer you've had? And what's the highest ever cash offer you had?
Top end, about 7,000. Yeah, talking about competitive games, I feel like it's right to announce something to you guys and to everyone. We had a lot going on like in our personal life, me and Shell. So like obviously separate situations, but maybe I should delve into it. I don't know.
This week in the 490 podcast, we're joined by former Manchester City #United and XL FIFA Pro player Ryan Pessoa.
From competing at World Championships to commentating with Kaká and Hullet at the E-Champions League.
He's also got a massive announcement to share at the start of the podcast. It's one you do not want to miss, so stay tuned for the next 90 minutes. This podcast is part of the Acast Creator Network. Well, welcome back to the 490 podcast, and I tell you what, Rich, I'm excited for this one. A good friend of ours, but also someone who's got a great story across the next 90 minutes.
A fantastic story. It's going to be a big one. He's a pro player, a presenter, a commentator, an influencer, a part-time TikToker, and an overall great guy. Our friend, Ryan Pessoa.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, we always like to start the 490, Ryan, with a pre-match drink of choice out of the 90 minutes of this podcast.
Yep.
What have you brought to the table? It might be one of the worst ones we've seen, Rich.
Appalling.
It's going to be the dullest one you've seen. I just drink water. I kid you not. Smart water, yeah, it's one of the top two I drink. It's either this or Volvic because there's a difference. There's clearly, in my opinion anyway, I think a lot of people agree, all water tastes differently. For me, Smart water, Volvic water.
Ryan, we have people all over the world that we can get drinks. We know people from South America to Oceania. We could have sourced anything for you.
Water, that's it.
And you pick H2O.
Genuinely.
2 hydrogens and oxygen.
That's all I drink. I tend to drink water the majority of the time. Sometimes, might squeeze in a fizzy drink.
Okay.
Sugar-free. Sometimes, but yeah, that's about it.
What about yourself? What are you going with?
For the third or fourth or fifth or last year in a row, it's another iced Americano for me. It might be getting colder in England, but the cold drinks are still here. You're not a coffee man, are you?
I'm not a coffee drinker at all. Not at all. I probably had maybe 10 cups of coffee in my entire life, so yeah, not a coffee drinker.
I have to apologise for Richard on this one because Richard asked for, was it an orangina?
It was we got an orange flavoured drink, Capri Sun.
Capri Sun.
I have gone back to primary school.
Got jam sandwiches in the lunchbox as well, got everything there.
Lovely and fruity. Yeah. So let's talk about your pre-match drink. FC coming up.
Yep.
Big year once again for Ryan Pessoa. Is this something you drink before a competitive game going ahead?
Yeah, talking about competitive games, I feel like it's right to announce something to you guys and to everyone. So obviously competing now for a number of years, multiple events, some successes, some highs and lows. But for me now, I kind of think I'm in a position where I'm probably going to, I would say, hang up the controller in a way where I don't plan to play this season. I plan to, of course, still would be within the scene, but explore different avenues of maybe content creation or broadcasting and being involved in that way. So yeah, I don't plan to play this year.
Wow.
No E-Premier League?
No E-Premier League, no FC Pro, nothing. I just, plan to do other things.
And what's made you come to that decision that you think that maybe this is the time to hang up the controller?
Yeah, I'm an honest person. I feel like and a critical person for sure when it comes to my ability and performance and everything. And in the 1v1 scene recently, I haven't been good enough, number one. I haven't been willing to put the time in to get to that level to be good enough as I was in previous years. So I feel like if I'm not willing to put the effort in and I don't back my ability, I have to be 100% sure that I want to do it. If not, I'm not going to do it. So I just don't think it's fair on myself and other people, if I was signed to a team, for example, to not be 100% in and be half-hearted. I just don't think it's worth it.
Wow.
Well, we saw obviously Man City that sort of time come to an end. What an incredible years, couple of years it was there. I mean, to get that loyalty from a club in esports is never heard of, to be brutally honest. Other than I think maybe Ajax have done something similar in the past. So we sat on the fence and we saw you leave City, and we're thinking, okay, what's next for Ryan? But it looks like we might be seeing him a bit more as we'll talk about as the podcast goes on. But I think it says a lot, Rich, about Ryan there, like the maturity there. There's players that might be like, I am still good enough, but he said, look, I'm just going to park it for now.
I think there's also players that would, if you got an opportunity to take some, not necessarily free money, but a contract when they know they can't play to the ability, they would still do that. Let's go back. We know what's potentially on the horizon for you. Let's go back to the start. Ryan Pessoa. Where did it all start? Take me back to the childhood. Take me back to the growing up.
Growing up, So I got my first console, I believe, when I was 9 years old. It was a PlayStation 2, and first game, of course, was FIFA. I've always been a massive football fan, huge Arsenal fan, of course, representing Man City, but I've been a massive Arsenal fan from when I can remember. So being able to obviously play football in real life as well and play a video game related to football was the key. Growing up, I didn't play it online, funnily enough, until I was about, I want to say 13 or 14 years old. So it was just career mode. That's all I played. Hardest difficulty. Sometimes I'd even go offline, set the game mode or halves, 40-minute halves or whatever. I'm just play a full game.
So you're like a squad battles match.
Yeah, look, I beat the AI like 600-0 and just literally just on amateur difficulty, just trying to score goals. And then obviously growing up, playing online now, competing against friends from school that I've met and people online. I had maybe a group of friends, maybe I'd say up to 10 of us playing consistently Ultimate Team from then. And they couldn't beat me. I kid you not. Years. And I remember losing the first game after maybe 4 years. Genuinely, to this day, it breaks my heart. And since then, they haven't played me. None of my friends play me anymore because obviously they feel like there's no point. They don't feel like they're going to get anything from it. But in terms of actually competing, it started off, as you guys know, in FIFA 17. And I always word it as like falling into the scene in a way. Because obviously I knew about Ultimate Team. I knew about like the game itself. But I never knew about competing. I didn't think there was an avenue to earn money or have a job technically to play FIFA. So trying to think the exact pinpoint, the exact part.
It was sort of like, I guess, what was it, FIFA 17, where there was the Bigfoot Champions sort of emergence, and it was a case of like, if you're actually unbelievable at Foot Champions, you can qualify for a tournament and potentially what Rocky and Shell's
exactly, yeah,
80k, 160k,
a lot of money to be made. But it wasn't even then because I found about it afterwards. Obviously, Ultimate Team introduced Foot Champions that year, and I never forget my first Foot Champs. Actually, I was at uni and loaded it up, come back off a night out, was playing a game. I think I was like 13-0. So I didn't even know that it was I didn't know what the standard was at the time. I turned my Xbox off by accident. I was too hungover. I literally just leaned over, elbow touched it, Xbox off, 13-1.
You're going to say you were dancing around the room there. You got back from your night out.
I think I finished on 34 wins, but I think it was top 100 at the time. So I did get the top 100 awards in the first week. So yeah, on to how I started. Bateson, who you guys know, I used to watch him a lot on YouTube, and he was actually partnering with a website for a ladder system. So it was on Gfinity ladder systems to compete in tournaments. And that's when I found out. My friend told me, go sign up for it. You can win £500 if you come second or £1,000 if you win it. So I thought, okay, why not? I'll sign up. And on the site, it had my good friend now, actually, Fully. He just signed with a team called Epsilon. And I was like, oh, wow, you can sign up for a team. And funny enough, I played Fully that day as well. So I messaged him and I was like, how did you join this team? And he just said, just keep grinding hard. Like, he sees that I've done well on Foot Champions before. Just keep playing the game. So I carried on playing it. And there was a period where I believe it was April, May, and June. I'm not too sure, but it was one of those 3 months where you had to finish top 5 in the world in the leaderboard to qualify for an in-person event in Munich. So yeah, I qualified for that, finishing, I think, 3rd consecutive month. So I've done really, really well on Foot Champs. And yeah, that's where it stemmed from.
You mentioned uni.
Yeah.
You went, I'm guessing, that this first year? Mm-hmm. During that sort of transition period. Yeah. I mean, what were it that you were studying?
Yeah, so I studied business management. So I was at University of Exeter. It was far. Okay. Too far for me. But it was a good time. I enjoyed it. And
then did you, when you were playing FIFA?
Yeah.
When you sort of came back home, shall you say, and you go into your mum and you're like, so yeah. Studies haven't been going great, but I'm the one on the Gfinity ladder.
Yeah.
Like, is that a conversation that took place? Like,
I think the one, obviously with my family, I've come from a very traditional family. It's basically go through the schooling system, university, get a job, whether it's a 9 to 5 or start your own business, and that's it. You continue in that and build up a lifestyle from that. So having this sort of job where it's mainly online and it's new, because obviously before that there weren't many avenues to create content online to earn a salary from it or to play video games across the world, which I've been lucky to do. So I think being able to, actually I was going to say the first thing when I qualified for was the part where my mum was like, okay, maybe this could be a way. I'd probably say it took until joining Man City.
Wow.
Because obviously Man City...
So quite far in the journey.
Yeah, a way. Obviously my mum supports me and my family support me the whole journey, this whole part of the journey. But when you join Man City, that's a top club, performing well, winning trophies in real life. They have obviously the financial backing. They have the stature. So for them, it was like, wow, you're playing for that team.
Yeah. Obviously, I've always noticed that about you from knowing you since FIFA 17 as well. You've always this sort of studied alongside playing. I don't know how you did that when it was 40 games of
my God
of foot champs a weekend. When was the moment then in that FIFA 17 year? Because that was sort of our emergence as well. Me and Richard when we started commentating. When was the moment in that year when you were like, okay, I'm a pro? Like what defines being a pro player in your mind? Is it signing for a team? Is it just winning some cash from playing in a tournament? Like what defines being a pro?
For me, a pro player, I think this is something us three can agree on. I think it's blurred in the scene. For me, a pro player is somebody that's signed contractually to a team to compete in tournaments. I don't think you're a pro player if you're a free agent. Even if you're playing in a ladder where you can earn cash and you win cash, I don't think you're a pro player. I'd say you're a competitive player, like you're within the scene for sure. But to be a pro, I think you have to be signed with a team and competing.
Well, you are professional. Like in real football, you've got semi-pros. Yeah. And that's something we don't really see. Like no one says they're a semi-pro FIFA player. Like you're either an amateur or you class yourself as a pro.
Yeah, that's it.
Whereas in football, when you go professional, that is your number one main source of income.
Yeah, yeah.
And for a lot of these pro players, a lot of it isn't the time. Like if you are playing in ladders or you're trying to play in rivals, you're not earning any money from that.
None.
Like rivals didn't pay my mortgage. I'm not taking that to the tax man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I got 20-0 on champs. Yeah. So I think it is very interesting. You mentioned FIFA 17.
Yeah.
That's sort of where this lifestyle came about for you.
Yeah.
And you end up at E-World Cup, the biggest tournament that FIFA has to offer.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Well, it seems like a very quick turnaround. Like you go from playing in Munich at Orms to playing at Westminster, where another fellow Englishman, a friend of yours, Gorilla, walked away with $200,000. Whirlwind. How was that for you? Like that entire sort of 4 or 5 month period?
When I look back at it, I think it's unbelievable. But at the time, I kid you not, I didn't really see it as that big of an accomplishment. I don't know. I can't really explain it. I feel as if at the time, when I won the event in Munich to get to the World Cup, I was like, oh my God, wow. I didn't go in with the confidence thinking that I'd beat everybody because I didn't know who they were. I had no idea. I had Kurt in my group, self-proclaimed at the time on Twitter saying he's the best in the world. I had Rafsu, Maestro. So it was a tough competition to go into. I'm the person, nobody had a clue who I was, like underdog completely. So for me, after the World Cup, getting to the World Cup, I should say, again, I didn't see it as that big of a deal until afterwards when I saw, oh my goodness, the amount of footballers that were at the event at the World Cup, when Gorilla ended up winning it and lifting the trophy and everything and the money that came along with it. That's when I found out, wow, this is massive and it could continue and propel.
Yeah, just some context as well for those that are thinking, what is that E-World Cup? That was the year where basically FIFA and EA, when they were working together, let's just say, they were both investing a lot of money. Like, let's just say the E-World Cup was $20,000, wasn't it, before that? That was the first year. It was $200,000.
Yeah, massive difference.
Massive change. And you're right to say, look, there was 3 different pots, wasn't there? There was the European pot of players, the Oceanian pot of players, or rest of the world, sorry, and then the Americas players. Well, we were able to follow that tournament that year. So to be amongst, was it the top 32 back then?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Some of the names in that tournament that didn't even get out the groups. I think it was groups of 8, wasn't it? It was groups of 8, crazy groups. Can you recall some of the big matchups?
What that I had?
Yeah.
I played Gorilla. Actually, I remember that game.
What's the score?
He won 2-0. He scored a crazy goal against me. It was an unbelievable goal. I battered him though. Absolute robbery. I'll be honest.
That's what they all say.
No, seriously, go and ask him. Because I remember I was sat here, he was sat over there and he was getting coached by Sean Allen, Dragon. I remember Gorilla in his accent. I don't want to swear. And he was like, what the F is going on? Who the hell is this? I remember him saying, who the hell is this guy? And I was battering him.
There were a lot of people. I remember back to Westminster, like just players who no one had a clue.
No idea.
Nicholas. Nicholas qualified from Argentina. Yeah. We saw him qualifying in the Americas region. And he came through and was just like, oh my God, this kid's unreal. A number of those American players, even Joey. Remember Joey?
Diddy Chris
Lito. Yeah. There were a lot of really good players that are now gone on to have great careers, win trophies, and make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You finished FIFA 17.
Yep.
I remember it's quite convenient actually because on the day of recording we just went to a launch event for the new game for EAFC.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
We met you at the FIFA 18 launch.
Yeah.
Where you're walking around in a hashtag United top.
Literally, that was...
You linked it yourself. Talk about that move.
Yeah, that was massive because I was at a team before that. It was only a short-term contract at Excel. And joining hashtag again, a big fan of Spencer Owen online, followed the hashtag football team as well. And obviously the people that were in the hashtag team at the time, you got Harry, you had Tass. It was a great org to be a part of. So I had a lot of offers after the World Cup.
Can you talk about them?
Yeah,
who came in?
What, do you want the teams that came in?
Yeah, who came in?
Epsilon.
Okay.
Came in. Leon.
Oh wow, could have been a little French move for you.
There was another English org. Who's the other English org?
Roma Fanatic?
No. It wasn't Roma. Who is it?
Footwiz?
No, it wasn't Footwiz. I got a funny story about that. I actually touched on the Footwiz one before. There was another team, but I was getting offers from other teams basically, and it was substantially more than what Hashtag were offering me at the time.
For context story as well, so at this moment in time, you're with Excel.
Well, I'm technically a free agent. But
You're a free agent.
But I was with Excel before that for 3 months, and I just didn't renew my...
So what is that contract, without going too much detail? Like, is it a paid contract or not? And why is it 3 months?
They paid me with maybe a handshake. But I wasn't looking for money when I joined the team. I kid you not, I just wanted to represent a team.
And that's the thing that I want to dig into here. I still feel like now there's such an emphasis of people just jumping to sign for clubs. It's better than it was, but... As you were saying when you were starting up, your mindset is, I've got to sign for an esports team, I've got to sign for a football club, but they're not giving you anything, are they, other than a jersey?
Literally, they could have, honestly, nothing. But again, it was a thing where, obviously I was naive at the time, I just wanted to be involved in the scene because I saw, wow, this looks unbelievable. So I remember someone I met through the Gfinity ladder, he messaged me saying, oh my gosh, you're such a good player, whatever. We both practiced against each other. And he messaged me saying, bro, you need to talk to teams, put your name out there. I didn't have a Twitter account, so I created a Twitter account. He was like, just message random teams because you've qualified for this event. People want to sign people that have made it. He told me about a team called Footwiz, and I was like, oh, they look really good. They have a great website, obviously, and it's a big team. I messaged Footwiz. I think it was Dan in charge of the account. And I was like, hey, I've qualified for FIWC Munich. Is it possible for me to represent you? And it was just like a blunt message like, no, mate, sorry, we've got someone who's there. Funny enough, he's in your group. Good luck, something like that. Footwiz Richie. Never forget, dragged them across the floor. I think it was about 7. Yeah. But yeah, I remember that. I'll never forget. So me and Dan, we have a good laugh over that. But obviously, I still have a lot of love and respect for Footwiz.
So going on, sorry, Rich, like you're in contract discussions. So as Rich was saying, back in the point, you've got a couple of offers on the table. You could maybe be speaking fluent French at this point. But what was the most attractive, and how did Hashtag come into that?
For me, again, obviously, monetary value is very important. Obviously, you look to get financial freedom. You want to get a contract where you're getting paid what you're worth. But there were other aspects for me that are very important. I want to feel somewhere, or I would love to go somewhere where I feel a connection with the club. Like, obviously, with Hashtag, the connection stems from me watching them online, me watching the players, me meeting the players as well at the events, and then being welcoming. So again, for me, it was sort of a no-brainer in a way. And again, they were offering me some of the teams 2 to 3 times what I was getting offered from Hashtag. I still turned them down just to join.
I mean, at that time as well, Hashtag were, I think, at current speaking, they don't currently have a player in the scene.
Yeah.
But back in sort of FIFA 18, FIFA 19, they were
the team you want to play.
They were
probably the biggest org in the space. Like
100%.
whether from the players that you had in terms of quality, but also, I mean, those the content days and the content shoots and like everyone. I remember playing weekend league in the same room.
So
like
good,
you sign with Hashtag, you get the handshake from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
How did life change after that? Because I imagine the Twitter followers went through the roof.
Crazy.
The YouTube subscribers went up.
Yeah.
But did the pressure as well on you?
Enough, no. Weirdly enough, it didn't, because it was just like, again, I still didn't take it in my stride thinking of how big this is to join Hashtag. Again, one of my friends, he coached me at FIWC as well, at the World Cup. He was telling me, bro, Hashtag is massive. He was such a fanboy of Spencer when he met him. And again, being able to play with the people that was there, I had Boras, I had Aggie, I had Harry. It was sort of like guidance, because they've been in the scene a little bit longer than I have. So they have the knowledge, they have the expertise, whereas I'm a newcomer. And they were great people. Honestly, without them, I wouldn't be where I am today in that sense. So grateful to them and everyone that was part of it. And in terms of the followers and stuff, Harry was the reason I created an Instagram account as well. I had no social media whatsoever. So I created it all, and then it just blew up from there.
And to this day now, looking at that, like, how important is it to be on socials as a pro player? Because it still seems like there's this mindset you just play. You don't just play.
Yeah.
You can't just play.
You can't. Not anymore. And well, even before, I don't think you should. But I agree with you 100% in the sense that content creation is massive, especially in this space where it's performance-based. If your performances aren't up to the level, at least you have the content to fall back on. And teams can look at you and feel like, oh, look, he might not have qualified for this event, but he's earned X amount of thousands of views per month or per week or whatever. So he has value, or that person has value. And I think that's something that's missing. I'm guilty of that myself. I don't think I've maximized my social media at all. Something that I'm planning to change, hopefully. for the best. But yeah, it's something that you fall into the mindset of, I want to compete, I want a tunnel vision. That's it. I want to compete, and I don't want any side distractions where, just want to focus.
I want to just nip back very quickly.
Yeah.
To hashtags. It was a massive part of your life. You mentioned the players there. You said Harry had a big impact on you. Mm-hmm. He was sort of the captain of that team.
Yeah.
What is Harry Hesketh like? For the people who might not have met him before, who see the Twitch streams and the YouTube videos, when you peel back the curtain, what is Harry like?
Honestly, what you see is what you get. Genuinely, one of the most genuine people out there. He's always happy to help people, and he has fun. Sometimes might take it to the next level where the fun is like craziness, but he enjoys himself, and I think that's something that some people in the scene don't do. And obviously, you can enjoy yourself to an extent. He might take it a bit far sometimes, but he's someone that, again, he has the mature side of him when he needs to be. And I think it goes under the radar, actually. He plays a lot back then. People used to think because he's a guy that likes to go out, he played so much and he grinded the game a lot.
Was it FIFA 20, I seem to remember, when the season got cancelled?
Yeah. Oh,
he'd have got the World Cup spot.
Yeah, he was smashing it. He went over to America and he was playing. Actually, I think it was in Canada with his family. I think it was in Canada. He was smashing it. He was doing so. I think he might have been top 5 as well in the world that year on the leaderboard. So he was doing really, really well.
There's always a way, isn't there, to find a way around the qualification. Probably the best example of that.
Yeah, genuinely, I would have done the same. No complaint. I'll be honest. I think it was a smart thing for him to do. But yeah,
I want to go to one particular event, Barcelona, 2018.
Wow, yeah.
There was a player who made his mark on the scene. Probably the biggest player out of FIFA EAFC that we've ever seen.
100%.
In Tex.
Yeah.
Firstly, what was it like when you played him?
Yeah.
I know you're going to tell me that you should have beat him.
Should have won, yeah. I should have.
But just
you know it as well.
Just talk about Tex, like that emergence, 0 to 50,000 followers overnight.
Unbelievable.
Are we ever going to see something like him again?
In terms of ability or in terms of
the whole package?
The whole package it's hard to say. We do have other younger people coming up. Like we've seen Anders spiral. Obviously, it wasn't through an event though; it's through for Champions Online, and then he became eligible to compete. But with Tex, I remember at the tournament he was battering everyone. Rocky, obviously one of the biggest names in the scene. Kurt, one of the biggest names as well, and he was just running through every single person. Sometimes double-digit scorelines. And at the time when we played, we already secured a spot at the playoffs because we were in the quarterfinals. And I thought, all right, we both have nothing to lose. Let's go into it. He's been winning 10-0, 9-1, etc. So I thought, all right, he clearly can score. I'm a terrible defender at the time. Honestly, could not defend. My aim was to outscore you. I didn't care if I conceded 5. As long as I scored 8, doesn't matter. I've won. So I thought, I'm going to concede a lot here. But it was a close game, and I felt like I should have won the game. And I'm not just saying that. Tex deserves it in the sense that he took his chances better than me. But if I look back at the chances, maybe I could have done stuff a little bit different. But yeah.
It's an interesting story as well, that Tex one, because, we still remember being in Barcelona and where he was so new, very shy, was sort of sitting on his own at breakfast and stuff. Honestly, you would not.
We chatted to him, didn't we? We pulled him over for breakfast one morning.
I think he had like this Los Angeles hat
on.
He did.
He had a hood on and he was just sat in his,
this kid who at the time I believe was living down like south.
Yeah.
Maybe an extra actually.
Nearby.
And then 48 hours, it just changes. That Twitter growth. You speak about, as it was called back then, FIFA esports, the power that you had from winning tournaments when people were watching, and there was crazy drops like pack drops and icon drops and stuff like that. The amount of power the scene had back then, and it was just that was like the growth really, isn't it? We had a big FIFA 17, FIFA 18 there, and I mean, I don't think you'll ever see a player that will have that sort of growth.
I agree with you. I actually believe that, and it's tough to grow nowadays because obviously back then it was new, it was fresh. Competing in the esports competition with FIFA, it was massive, and the way he done it as well in style, it was flair. It wasn't just like his play style was exciting to watch. He scored a lot of skillful goals. So I think for that to happen again, it would be a massive rarity. I think.
Incredible stuff when you think about it. Throughout the rest of that season, you made it to the playoffs.
Yep.
Unfortunately for you, you didn't go through in the end. When you finish that 18 season, then you look forward, hashtags continuing to grow.
Yeah.
Your stock is continuing to grow. When you're in sort of those, did you sign a 1-year deal at hashtag that first year you went? Can you remember?
I don't remember. I'm not sure. I actually don't know.
Just signed anything, didn't
he? Yeah, literally.
What have I learned in the last 12 months from Excel? Just sign.
Yeah, literally, just signed anything. I don't remember.
So when you are moving forward, during that period where you're top 8 in Barcelona, is the rumourings, like whispers coming in, like we want Ryan, or is it he's a hashtag United player, no one's going to go near him?
There were teams that approached, and I remember, so like maybe I conducted myself wrong in this situation. A team approached me at the event when I was there, and at the time I didn't have an agency, I'd done everything myself. And it would have been a 1-year deal.
At Barcelona?
At Barcelona, they say approach me at Barcelona.
Can I guess who it is?
Yeah.
We're at Unilad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got approached by them in all events that I was there, even players. Like every time they wanted to talk to me. So I thought, they're persistent. Let me just see what they want to say. But I'd done that without telling hashtag first.
Oh.
So I just went to meet them. But I didn't plan to, I wasn't never going to sign anything or do anything. I just wanted to hear what they were saying. And then when I had the talk with them, I then went back and was like, hey, Spen, a team approached me. And then he was raging. He was like, why don't you come to me first? Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, they wanted to sign me again. A lot of money at the time, but it just didn't. It didn't happen. Oh, yeah, actually, it could have happened, but I think they had a problem. I think they I'm not sure what happened with them, but they I don't know, closed down maybe their company that they worked with at the time. But yeah, at the time, I just didn't see myself leaving hashtag unless it would have been for something crazy for me to leave.
It's one of those, isn't it? Like we see it all the time in FIFA esports. People are so keen for a year. They come in, they spend big, and then I think it says a lot about the scene as well that it's not that sustainable in the nicest way. I mean, I'm hoping for change now with EFC now here in FC Pro, but like it just I think that's probably one of those case examples right at the start. A team comes in, throws around big money, and then realizes maybe this isn't all is it meant to be. But carrying on that story, so at hashtag, my question to you is, do you think you utilised the opportunity enough? Because on YouTube, you did grow. And then you just stopped.
Yeah, because at the time, so I was editing myself. All I had was a laptop that was given to me for free for the school I went to when I was 16, like the college I went to then. And it had 2 gigabytes of RAM. It was the worst laptop ever. I'm grateful. They gave it. I can't complain. It was good for school. Yeah. But for example, I'm editing a video that's maybe 20 minutes. I kid you not. How long do you think it took to render?
Enjoying that, Rich. Probably 2 days.
It's about 2 days. It's about 30 odd hours to render the video. And then if there was like a mistake, because it was so bad I couldn't play it back. So I just had to edit it. If there was a mistake, I had to go back. I had to go back and edit it again. So then I had to wait another 2 days to render the video. Genuinely, that's how long it was. And then sometimes it would pick up the wrong mic because it kept disconnect. The worst thing ever. So I thought, I'm still at uni. I can't bring a PC up. I don't have the money to buy or afford a laptop or something or a MacBook, whichever that I could use. So, and I thought, let me just focus on my studies, because when I joined hashtag, not because of them at all, but I started to like not go in to my lectures, my seminars. I just thought I can't be bothered. I'm not going to drop out because, as I said, when I start something, I want to finish it. I want to put effort into it. So I was kind of like caught in a continuum. Do I put effort into FIFA or to uni? And I thought, I'm paying money. I'm losing money technically at uni, so I'm going to put my effort into that. So yeah,
quite a similar story to us really. When our story, obviously we were doing the commentary. We started progressing at a pretty rapid pace, and it was the 3rd year.
Yeah,
the dissertation year during FIFA. During FIFA 19, where we had an LQE or an event every other.
The same thing. Yeah,
and I always say I wrote my dissertation, all 10,000 words, in about 4 days.
Yeah.
Just because I think we were in Singapore, we got back from the event, and I was like, oh no, I've got to write a dissertation. I
had the same problems.
And I wrote it all in about 5 days.
Yeah.
But it is you just said there you didn't really balance it.
Oh, it was horrible. I'll be honest, horrible.
How far then were you travelling to get to hashtag HQ to play?
So this was the thing. So when I was in Exeter, obviously, I transferred to Surrey because if I'm joining hashtag, there was something in the contract where they wanted us at the HQ a certain amount of times. And number one, I didn't have the money to travel from Exeter down to Essex that frequently because they wanted us a couple of times a month. I could not do that. I couldn't afford, number one, the timings. It would take about 5 hours just one way, I'm pretty sure. It's out on the train. It's quite a far journey. So I thought, I didn't want to stay at home. I go to uni that I know the area a bit more because I went to a school there. So I went to Surrey University, continued into the 2nd year. And yeah, it was a lot closer than it was compared to Exeter. So yeah, just doing all of that. And similar as you said, in FIFA 19, I had my final year as well. And even in FIFA 18, actually, for playoffs, when I played against Denuso in that game, I had an exam the next day. and so I couldn't get back in time. So they gave me 0 on the exam.
Wow.
They didn't give me. I didn't get.
Denise beat you as well.
Beat me as well. Honestly, double whammy. Honestly, I was thinking, what's next? I think, yeah, and it was just like having a choice. Basically, how am I going to tell my mum? Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not turning up to my exam because I'm going to go play in a FIFA tournament.
That was probably one of my favourite commentary lines, actually.
The news always in London.
The news always in London. He still says it to this day.
Again, the biggest. He should be behind bars. By the way, the biggest heist, not even in FIFA, but in real life situations, he should be behind bars. Genuinely, the biggest robbery. You guys know it as well. You watched that game, a disgrace.
Looked like he scored a good goal. Is that N'Golo Kante?
Let's move forward. FIFA 19 rolls around, still with hashtag.
Yeah, still with hashtag at the time.
At this point, when the FIFA 19, how was FIFA 19 for you? Was it okay? Not amazing? Not great?
It was a different game in terms of gameplay. The number of mechanics they added in with the time finishing and the no look shoot, all of that craziness. It was a lot to handle with obviously uni at the time, and there was, as you said, the frequency of events. There was a month, I think it might have been November. It might have even continued into January, where it was every weekend.
It was,
and I couldn't even. I'm going back. I've got an exam or I've got something due the next day, and I'm like, I can't. And the tournaments, the formats of it were very long and strenuous. You had to play a lot of games, so I would have to travel to hashtag, travel back, do my assignment for the next day, and then it was a mess.
Would you say that FIFA 19 year was a perfect year, or was it too much from a player perspective?
From a player perspective, I think it was fine if you maybe lowered the amount of LQEs slightly. I think there should be LQEs, but if they lowered it, maybe if they halved it, I think for me it would have been fine, and maybe spread out the events a little bit more.
It was a crazy year, and I think it was the best year in terms of like storytelling. You
100%.
know, you got regular winners, regular major winners. It was the immersion of like Dull and Mike was in that year as well. Tex popped up a couple of times again. Say a couple of times, a lot of times, won a lot. And with all the leagues and just constant, you know, FIFA esports, it was unbelievable storytelling.
Yeah.
Back to that point though, what was at your peak? What's a day in the life of a FIFA Pro player?
Ooh.
From waking up to whatever time you went to bed?
Yeah, it varies, I'll be honest. Because like, for instance, now at the start of a game, every moment of the day, you're up playing the game. I kid you not. So for example, I would wake up, let's say, for easy sake, 9 a.m. Right, it's not going to be 9 a.m. But like, let's say I wake up at that time, I'm playing 12 hours minimum. Maybe I might have a meal in between there, maybe one. Get up, maybe about 50 steps throughout the day, just to go to the toilet, come back. That's it. So
are you just, when you're grinding the game, are you playing on your own, or are you in Discord?
I'm in Discord. You're usually I prefer to be in Discord with people that I knew back then through school. So we'd be in Discord. But nowadays, you communicate with the pros because you learn a lot more. You're able to learn about new mechanics. I'll be in Discord with some of the other guys. And yeah, that was it. Just playing throughout the day.
There'll be Discord with us soon.
Yeah.
I don't think you're getting invited to those pro players. Yeah. FIFA 19, just going back to that, did you at any point when the performances weren't there, because it is sort of, it's a worse season than the season before. Mm-hmm. Did you feel it at all during that hashtag?
I only felt
especially during the last period where you were like,
for the points to get into the...
Yeah, and was there a self-realisation where you thought, I might get released here, or I might get dropped?
No, because that year I missed out on World Cup spot by like 50 points, and that was because I didn't get an invite for the because there's a combination of reasons. I didn't do well at a certain event, whatever, but like I missed out because the players above me got double points for E-Nations because they got double points at that event, and I couldn't make it. Was just an invite only tournament, so I couldn't get involved. So that was upsetting because I felt as if, I don't know how to describe this. I don't think I was that good on FIFA 19, if I'm being honest. Like FIFA 18, I thought I was unbelievable. FIFA 19, I thought I was pretty average, but I still was close to the World Cup spot. But if I'd gone into the World Cup with the mindset I had then, I don't think I was good enough to win it, if I'm being completely honest with myself. 18, I thought 100% yeah. 19, despite me thinking I wasn't good enough, I still think I deserved to make it just based on the points thing, because I just didn't get double points for.
It's funny you say that. Do you feel as in football, there are footballers who are just really good footballers, but are never going to be a Ballon d'Or winner?
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to win a Premier League.
Yeah.
Is there a mindset in FIFA where you can just be a really good FIFA player, a really good pro player, but you're not good enough to win a tournament? And do you think there's pros out there that exist like that?
Yeah.
And also, is that a nice mindset to have? Like,
no, not at all. No. I would say, for me, for my own personal mindset, I never had that mindset probably ever up until, I would say FIFA 22 or maybe 23? Just because, again, when I'm playing, then I thought I'd say I was really good on those FIFAs up until maybe 21, because I don't know what it was. Obviously with the pandemic and everything, I sort of lost motivation because there were no in-person events at the time because of the situation going on. And from a person where that's all I knew, every event I qualified for was an in-person event. There were no online qualifiers or tournaments. It was just in-person. You're flying to Bucharest, to wherever. So having the tournaments online, it didn't feel real. I can't describe it.
Just fulfilling the job requirements.
And I think that's where my motivation dipped heavily. That's not the only reason I didn't perform that well. I just didn't put the time in, number one, and I just wasn't that good at the mechanics that year. And that's down to, again, not putting the time in and just not being as good as everyone else, adapting. So I'd say my mindset, for example, FIFA 23 last year, going into 1v1 competitions, I would never have been like, oh yeah, I think I can win the event. Not for 1v1, no. For 2v2, yes, because I thought we were really good. But again, when it comes to FIFA, there's other variables you have to take into account. It's not just you think you're the best player. You have to take into account every aspect of the game. You might do everything perfect, take a shot, hits the post, and then the next time you take the shot, it goes in. The same angles, the same everything, but it's just you need the roll of the dice to fall on your side.
Yeah, well, as you said, look, FIFA 17 made the World Cup, FIFA 18-19 also coming really, really close.
Yeah.
Hashtag ends, and then I look at sort of two more big sort of career accolades that happened in your time.
Yeah.
Red Bull athlete was a big one, and then more importantly, Manchester City.
Yeah.
What was the order of who came first, and how did it come about?
So Red Bull came just as I joined Hashtag. It was genuinely funny story. It's a good one. So university, they had the trials for the football team. I go there, made it into the team, and then they had a game the following weekend. And I was like, it's going to look bad. I can't play. There's a qualifying weekend in Foot Champs. So I went to tell the captain, his name's Jack Williams. I remember, and I was so tentative. I was embarrassed. I'm like, how can I tell him I'm not playing because I'm playing FIFA? He's going to think I'm just messing about. I
guarantee his reply was, have 2 pints and get on that pitch.
But he was like, basically I told him I'm signing for Hashtag at the time. I need to go, there's a qualifying tournament. I'm not going to be here for the game. Is that okay? And he's like, what do you do? I was like, I play FIFA. And he was like, no way. I'm a regional representative for Red Bull. We're looking for esports players from this. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What is going on? So he put me in contact. I met up with the people at Red Bull, and it just stemmed from there. That was it. Unbelievable timing. So if I didn't transfer, that would have never happened.
I felt like you were at Red Bull for about 14 years.
Yeah, it was a long time. I was at Red Bull for a long time. Good times. Obviously, I wish I maximized being there with content and stuff. I didn't whatsoever. So that's on me. That's nothing on their part. But they offered a lot of support, done a lot of content with them. But again, with Red Bull, they're very interactive and in person as well. And obviously with the pandemic, all of those opportunities, just you can't do anything. Yeah. So it's just, bad timing.
The second thing that Brandon mentioned there, Man City.
Yeah.
How did that come about? You leave Hashtag. Mm-hmm. Were you in discussion with City before leaving Hashtag? So you're a free agent for a little while.
Yep.
How did it come about? Who reached out and waited straight away? Yep, handshake. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Similarly in a way, but I knew that they only had one player in Shells, who's one of my good friends, probably the closest person I've been to in the scene. And he told me that they're looking for a second player as well. And Will Pithers at the time was part of the esports team and the structure at Man City. So,
great guy.
Amazing guy. Yeah, so I spoke to him because I already represented Man City at Club World Cup because I was sent out on loan from Hashtag because we had too many players, so they made me join another team and we ended up qualifying. So I had sort of ties already, direct communication. So I asked them if they're looking for a player, and that was it. It just spiraled into them offering a contract. So I had an offer from them and another team as well. And I don't want to go, again, the other team offered more money, but I just felt I'm with one of my best friends in the scene, and I would rather prioritize that and be happier. I thought I'd be happier, so I think it was a good choice.
The question I'll have off the back of that, and you can answer if you want, is what's the lowest ever cash offer you've had, and what's the highest ever cash offer you had?
Lowest offer, I'd probably say. Well, can I count? I've been on zero. Does that count? I'd say, actually, I don't know. I would say probably about £500, maybe 500 a month. 700.
And that's a 12-month deal, or is that just?
So it was 500 a month for 12 months. Yeah. And
then top end of the scale.
Top end about 7,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
£7,000 a month.
Yeah. It's a lot of money.
Can we?
No, we won't. Man City, though, as we said at the start of the podcast, a lot of commitment there as well, you know, to have a team that supports you for multiple years.
Yeah.
Surely that's the that's got to be the career highlight, as you said. Like, you know, was that the moment, 100%. As you said, that people started to maybe take your career, your profession a bit more seriously?
Yeah. Actually, when I think it was €7,000, actually, whatever that
is.
So
it's a French team.
No. But yeah, joining Man City was massive. As you said, it's a massive team. Obviously, I wasn't like a football fan of them, but you can always appreciate how good a team is, how well run they are. Despite me being an Arsenal fan, for me, Man City are the best run club in the world. They're unbelievable, top to bottom. The professionalism, everything they have, the facilities is next level. So like, it was unbelievable to be able to travel to Manchester, to create content with the players like Aguero, to meet some of them as well, Foden, those type of players. It was unbelievable.
I mean, you got some cracking opportunities.
Yeah. Craziness.
With them as well, traveling over to the Middle East,
business class as well. Oh my goodness, yeah,
going sort of all over the world.
Yeah.
Did it feel as though during that time at City, like, again, I'm going to go back to it. Did you feel like you missed opportunities, like with the potential that you had? You're at Manchester City.
Yeah.
What you really narrow-minded on? We have to perform to a high level because we are playing for Man City, 100%. Who are the best team in the world.
That's where the pressure stemmed from. As I said, I never really put pressure on my shoulders when I was at hashtag, not in an offensive way, because like, to me, obviously it goes without saying, hashtag and Man City are two different ball games. But
it's also, sorry to cut you off, hashtag at that time is such a small knit group as well. Like, you've got Spen there, who's the one who's paying the wages. You've got Agger, you've got Boras. Yeah. Like, you're all in it together. Did it feel like City sometimes it was, we have to perform because we are Man City?
100%. It was so stressful, I'll be honest. Not from the club, they didn't put pressure on us directly, but from myself and of course Shaz as well, just going into a tournament, it's like you're signed for one of the biggest teams in the scene. If you don't perform, you're basically going to get cut, or it's I wouldn't say embarrassing, but it's just like maybe the casual people are like, oh, why is he playing for them if he can't do this? Why he can't do that, whatever. So it kind of, it's demoralizing when you don't do well. And it sort of sways you away from creating content because you're like, I don't want to look at anything else. I want to just hone in on just practicing and improving.
Surrounded by winners as well, aren't you?
Yeah,
and, you know, when they're out doing it on the real pitch and you want to be backing up, don't you? As much as you can. I mean, look, Man City, what an opportunity that was for you, and how did that in the quickest way you can sort of describe it, how did that come to an end? Was it just an honest chat of like, it's time to move on, or?
Yeah, literally. As I said, I'll be honest, I thought it was going to come sooner. To be honest, I thought I rode the horse a bit too long in terms of my performances. As I said, I'm very honest. I'm not blinded to the fact, or I'm not an egotistical person where I wouldn't want to say I didn't play bad, but I played awful at periods. I think the worst timing for me was not qualifying for EPREM, the first one at Man City. That's probably my lowest point in the FIFA scene, genuinely, because I was good that year, and it was just, as I said, you have a bad day, and it's just gone. That's it.
And it's like EPL as well.
It's a guarantee. You got to do it.
Got to be there.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. I remember going home and I was almost in tears. Like, genuinely, I remember.
I think we commentated that, didn't we?
Yeah. And it was just the worst feeling ever, because it's not just about not qualifying. It's just that I played so bad on the day. It was awful. I played terrible. I just let the pressure get to me because I'm like, oh my, I have to make it. Man City, Premier League. I'm signed for the club. Imagine I'm not there. And I just didn't make it. It was terrible.
Yeah. It was a real blow.
Yeah.
You bounce back. And I mean, when you suffer a defeat like that, what you're there at the event, you might have got us commentating. There's always an urge for me to go up to someone and be like, unlucky mate, or whatever. How annoying is that? Like, you've just lost, or you've suffered a big defeat, and you get one of us two, or you get someone else just coming up and be like, unlucky buddy.
To be honest, I see it from both sides in terms of whether it's, let's say, the camera crew coming up.
Like an interview.
Yeah. I feel like you kind of want to get that raw emotion out there, because it's the most honest way you're going to get the facts from that person that's just lost. So I feel like I understand it. At the time, I just want to be alone, I'll be honest. But I don't mind someone coming up to me and saying, yeah, whatever, how did it go? Or what happened? Or I'm unlucky on the loss. But for me, as soon as I lost, boom, gone, room. Straight into my room, or I've gone home. If it's in London, I'm straight home. Instantly. There is no hanging about. I'm not seeing anybody. The bag's packed 5 minutes. Uber's already ordered. Outside, gone.
I think the one of the most recent tournaments, it wasn't the Club World Cup. That was a good achievement, really. I don't think many people saw
not at all.
You two qualifying for the finals. It was the event that happened earlier in the season. It was a 2v2, one-legged format. Not a great result. Yeah. And just what you're saying there, I were like, Ryan, they just finished the tournament. Man City had just, unfortunately, not gone through.
Yeah.
Oh, where's Ryan? Yeah, he left about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, Masters was tough because, again, being honest, I don't think we deserve to be invited to that tournament. Completely honest. If you're basing it off 2v2 accomplishments, then yeah, of course. But some teams weren't based off 2v2. It was based off a lot of 1v1 accomplishments. And we haven't had anything to deserve to be invited. Well, I haven't, for sure. So I don't think we should have been there. So going into it now, it's like you want to perform because, again, you want to showcase why you deserve to be there where others aren't. But we had a lot going on like in our personal life, me and Shell. So like obviously separate situations, but maybe I should delve into it. I don't know. Do you have time?
We got time.
Okay, yeah.
So I haven't heard from producer Dave, so I feel right. Producer Dave, how long have we got left for the first half?
45 minutes is done.
It's done?
It's done. We'll have an added time of 1 minute.
Yeah, so I had someone close to me that passed away, right? And obviously that happens in life. It's one of them, but the timing of it genuinely couldn't be worse. So I found out literally just as we're starting first week. So like it was awful. And then funny enough, the funeral was literally on week 2 that we played. So I went from the funeral to the event. So yeah.
Sorry to hear that, mate. Yeah, that must be like terrible timing.
Awful.
But like that tournament as well, like it must be so difficult as well. Like, you know, you're trying to compete, right? And you're trying to play. And then like if results aren't going your way as well, you're getting in your own head about it. And and the pressure just mounts and mounts and mounts.
It's tough because again, as I said, I didn't want to let everyone down. So I was like, I have to perform. I didn't even tell anyone what happened. I literally came to the event. I was like, I'm just gonna focus. I remember you guys saying, "Why is Ryan so quiet?" I didn't even speak to anyone because it's like I've just come from a funeral and I have to play. And it's like I don't want to let Shells down. Don't want to let Saul, Chris, everyone that's put faith in me. So I need to perform. But obviously, it didn't go the way we planned. Funny enough, I don't think we played that bad.
I think the second week,
fine in the second week. First week was hard. I don't think we played well. Second week, I think we played really, really well. But it was just a bit of fine margins where we conceded late on or kept giving away needless goals. And yeah, that was tough.
Then you're on commentary for the semi-finals.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, straight back in behind the desk and yeah.
We'll come on to that. That's the halfway point for the Full 90 podcast. We're off for a quick break. When we're back, we'll be resuming with a lot more topics and we'll be speaking about what's next for Mr. Ryan Pessoa. So it's that time of the podcast where we challenge our guest in the hot seat. It's the Full 90 quiz. 90 seconds to answer as many questions about yourself and interests.
Ooh.
Are you ready, Ryan Pessoa?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's
go.
go.
We'll get the clock going in 3. Richard's on the questions this week. 3, 2, 1. You're off.
At the FIFA E World Cup 2017, where did you finish in the group?
5th.
Incorrect. When you were XL Stacks, how many Zs were at the end of your name?
2.
Correct. How many YouTube subscribers do you currently have?
54,000.
Incorrect. 56.5.
Oh, come on.
To qualify for the 2017 E World Cup, who else was in your group?
For the World Cup? Maestro, if it was Richie, Kurt and Rafsu.
Correct. Before your gamer tag was Ryan Pessoa on Xbox and PlayStation, what was your in-game alias?
Wait, that's unfair. It could be the hashtag Ryan part because it was at different times.
Not.
Come on, that's a stitch up.
It's Agile Bobcat 9077.
We're past halfway.
Who played every single minute of Arsenal's season last year?
Ramsdale?
Correct. Okay. Next question. How many icons, male icons, are in EAFC that played for Arsenal?
I want to say 8.
12. Where did Arsenal finish last season?
2nd.
Correct. In the FIFA 18 playoffs, how much prize money did you earn?
8,000.
2,500. Final question. Arsenal's...
The time's done, but we'll play the question now, all right?
They said 2-pointer.
Yeah.
Who is Arsenal's all-time top goal scorer?
Yeah. Oh, Thierry Henry.
How many goals has he scored for the Gunners?
It's a disgrace. You're a disgrace. Right, now that we've got time, let me think. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna say there's a number in my head, but I'm gonna say something lower. What, all competitions or Prem?
All-time Arsenal
Yeah, but what?
How many goals?
Everything.
How many goals has Henry scored for Arsenal?
I'm going to say 212.
228.
I knew it was something like that, you know. God.
Well, we'll tell you what we score. We'll get you on the leaderboard. It was a pretty dismal effort, Ryan.
Sticks me up, by the way. That's a disgrace. That game attack. I'd never get that.
I'll be back on questions next time, don't worry. Well, the results are in, Ryan. It's 5 points on the board. Not the best effort, but you're not happy with the questions, were you?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. You stitched me up.
I'm the question master. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So I think it's time that we resume the story of Ryan Pessoa. We've had a little half-time break, which gives us the perfect opportunity, Richard, to tee up this podcast half-time snacks before we kick off another 45 minutes. I'll kick it off. Bit boring. I've just gone for a protein bar, which is probably, at this rate, the same as just getting a Mars bar, really, of the amount of sugar in these anyway. What have you gone for?
You might notice a theme. Orange Capri Sun, orange twirl. Good chocolate bar.
You're a chocolate orange fan?
I do like chocolate orange.
Well,
that's good.
Ryan,
that's a good choice.
We send a message out before the podcast starts saying you're going to be coming on.
Yep.
We do a halftime snack. And you said you want a very, very... So, for the drink, you just wanted water.
Yep.
For this one, you made us work.
Mm-hmm.
However, producer Dave is a man who's got his fingers in many pies. In particular, a cupcake.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking for. We delivered.
I love it.
Talk to me, firstly, why Lola's Cupcakes?
Honestly, they should probably sponsor me, I'll be honest. I eat from Lola's Cupcake. Genuinely unbelievable stuff.
I don't know if I want to let him do this or not.
Go on, let's see you get it out.
Here we go.
So what is this cupcake before we reveal it?
So my favourite anyway is Oreo cupcake. I'm a big fan of that Oreo flavoured things. There's ice cream, milkshakes. The cupcake for me is next level.
And we haven't just got one.
Yeah.
Producer Dave got 4, if you can get that on camera. 4 of these, which means I think we've all got to get involved, really. Are you upping yourself first, are you?
I'm going to pass it over. Right. Oh my God, they look...
So talk me through this bad boy then. So what is it about this cupcake that just makes it top tier?
The buttercream.
The buttercream.
Genuinely, I'm a sucker for sweet stuff. I have the worst sweet tooth there is.
Is the Oreo biscuit hard or is it a soft?
It's soft. It's soft.
It's soft.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good.
Producer Dave's putting his hand out.
No, I was I'll tell you what, there is going to be a spare one.
You can have the box, Ryan.
So is this the small part of your day that you enjoy when weekending in past life? You know,
in anything, it doesn't matter.
Where do you want to get one of these? Because I swear these are mainly at train stations.
Yeah, that's the problem. So when we were doing the broadcast events in Stratford, they had a stall maybe 100 yards away.
I wondered where you went.
Yeah, and I would say single-handedly, funny enough, I had a check at the doctor's, I had a blood test. Ryan, your cholesterol is alarmingly high. Like, what are you doing for your cholesterol? Yeah, it's the cream from the cakes. I was having about 4 a week.
Well, life that stressful. Okay,
I was living at Lola's Cupcakes, genuinely. Expensive as well.
I was going to say, how much does one of these cost?
I think about £4.
Jesus.
£4 for one. I'm struggling to close
Man City's doing well.
What's it like? We'll try not to make it too ASMR if you're people at home that are listening. Right, I'm going to go in for the first bite now. I'm quite a pudding person, me. Mm-hmm. Very much a pudding person. Milkshake, I'm there. Oreo milkshakes, ice cream. Richard's absolutely loving it. I'm just going to go in for a first bite.
What has this podcast become?
The sponge, pretty tame.
Yeah, standard.
Our buttercream is...
The buttercream's next level.
Is unbelievable. And the Oreo is very soft as well. You're right on that one.
Just like Paul Hollywood.
Well, we'll continue the conversation, though. You know, we left off with Man City and how things ended there. What would you say was the career highlight for you in sort of competing competitively?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I would say it's hard to say the World Cup just because at the time I didn't realise the magnitude of it. So I'm not going to say that. I would say qualifying for the first Club World Cup tournament that I qualified for. So it was my first time competing in 2v2 and just making that event, being amongst the best players was a massive high point for me.
Well, speaking of that E-Club World Cup, I think it's probably one of your biggest achievements at City, right? Was
it
4 times you made it there?
4 times with City, yeah.
So the E-Club World Cup, for people that don't know, it's a 2v2 FIFA tournament. It's a massive offline event, big cash prize. I think the last one at $1 million.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, just gone $1 million there. I guess that was your last campaign for Man City. I know it wasn't the most best result you want to talk about, but what was the mindset going into that one? Because it just felt like for you, maybe in 1v1 it slowed down a little bit, but in 2v2 you always enjoyed 2v2. You and Shells just loved 2v2 FIFA.
Yeah, we always qualified. The only year we didn't qualify was last year, in FIFA 22, and that was on penalties to Amakers, who were top 3 in the world team. And again, it was tough to take because I felt as if we could have made it. We done well to get back into the game, but being at the event itself is unbelievable. And this year, in other years, I would say, obviously we're performing well. We back ourselves, and the format was slightly different. So we play 1v1. I'll play 1v1 game. Shells will play 1v1 game. Then it's 2v2. This year it was strictly just 2v2, which I like as well. But going into the qualifiers, we wouldn't say that we were favourites to make it, because it was genuinely 1 or 2 teams from the region make it each time. And there's so many top teams in the divisions. We had Guild in there, who were incredible. We had who else were in there? So many teams basically that were unbelievable that we had to eliminate to get there. Excel as well.
And I hate to be that guy, Ryan, but as a commentator on that broadcast, me and Richard, the amount of times you went up in those games and then conceded and gave away. Like we were sitting there, obviously, wanting a UK team to do well at least. Defensively, what was going on? I mean, like, game management just seemed like it wasn't there.
I don't know what it was. It was just a combination of just rushing little aspects of the game, making little mistakes that it wasn't mistakes where we're passing an open goal, but it was mistakes where we're giving away possession needlessly and forcing errors that were never needed to be made. And again, going into that tournament, I genuinely felt like we could win it. Even in practice, we're playing against Leipzig, we're playing against everyone, and we're beating everybody basically. And it felt as if we can play to the standard we know we're capable of, it's going to take someone to perform spectacularly well to beat us. And we just couldn't. I felt like getting out of the groups is always the hardest part. I don't know what it is, but I honestly don't know, because for me, the hardest part of Club World Cup, I kid you not, genuinely as a player, is getting there. It's the hardest part. It's so difficult.
Especially on those online qualifiers that go on for years.
Yeah, they go on for literally the whole season. And you're playing against every week, or every so often you're playing those games, and you need to finish in the top 2 or the top 3 to make it. So it was so hard.
Speaking of those online qualifiers, there's a phrase that you've said quite a lot as you took into that cupcake.
Yeah,
and it's very, very simple. It's just 2 numbers.
Yeah,
4 and 3. When you hear those words, 4 and 3, firstly, describe what 4 and 3 is.
Yeah,
you play a Swiss record, meaning that if I win my first game of the qualifier and Brandon wins his first game, we would then play against each other. We are both 1-0. In the qualifiers, to compete at these tournaments where you're playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, you have to get more. If you get 3 losses, you're eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah.
If you get to 5 wins, a lot of the time, you can go through. If you get to 6 wins, you go through. When you're playing in the qualifiers, I feel like every single tournament, I would say 90%, you got eliminated with a 4 and 3 record, meaning that you played every single match, you played over 13 hours of
literally
of practice, basically, of these qualifiers, and then wouldn't go through. What are those qualifiers like, firstly?
Draining. As you said, you're sat there for hours on end, and it's like, as the day goes on, obviously your performance level dips, in my opinion. For most people, we'll say when you get to like round 7 or round 8, you're tired, because it's not just the time that it takes that goes past the day, it's the amount of concentration it takes for you have to be 100% concentrated every single game, and to do that for a sustained period isn't easy. So going into those last rounds, honestly, the amount of times I lost in the last round to make it through to the knockouts, unbelievable.
Which brings me on to one of my most enjoyable parts of the podcast for you, Ryan, is your Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, but this will be more for those that are watching this than listening. I'll explain it as well to those that are listening. You used to be quite vocal on Twitter.
It was a nightmare.
And there's a thing about FIFA players.
Don't tell me that. It's a bad one, isn't it?
When it doesn't go well, naturally, you used to be someone that would just say, just be knocked out of a tournament. You're not very happy. You had to release it somewhere, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Take me back to that, because obviously you're young, FIFA players do this, you go on Twitter, you say you're not happy.
Yeah.
When did it change? Because there was a moment when you did start changing what you put out on Twitter.
I just thought, one of my good friends, Ali, he doesn't play FIFA, but he knows about the FIFA scene. He said, Ryan, you're taking your anger out on silliness. That you showcasing that gives you that moment of respite where you feel like relieved, but then it's doing you it's doing you more harm than good, basically. So I used to be a mess when it comes to tweeting about it. I lose a qualifier when I was at hashtag. I'd have where's behind me, Ryan? Don't tweet. I'd tweet. I'd get Neil. I'd get Neil from hashtag running in. Take the tweet down. I'd tweet instantly. It was so bad.
There's one set of tweets.
I've got the tweet.
Oh no,
this is the best tweet.
This tweet is remarkable.
I'm going to ask you what it says because you should know from the date, really.
Yeah.
The 13th of February. Is that a special day at all?
Yeah, my birthday.
Your birthday?
God. Yeah. I know what this is. You're evil for this.
I don't know if you were a part-time graphic designer at the time as well when you were at uni. I'll pop it up on the screen now, but basically it's a bit of a meme. You're opening a box on your birthday. You don't feel like there's anything in there, and then you shake the box, and out comes an FGS qualifier, so a qualifier for a weekend. You go 4 and 3 Swiss, 8 hours for the same pro points as 0 and 3, and you've been knocked down to the floor.
Yep.
Your tweets are so passive aggressive. It's remarkable.
Yeah, literally, that was honestly the amount of times that happened. And as I said back then, I was quick on tweeting. Quick, honestly, seconds. The final whistle was barely blown, and I'm typing up the tweet to send it out. So it was a mess.
So in hindsight, to players out there now that they throw away, let's say a 20-0 to the extensive list of being eliminated from one of the biggest tournaments in the world, what advice would you say to players that are like they could say like trigger happy just to be like type this just get this out?
Being as ruthless as possible, I'll probably just say keep my mouth shut. No one cares, really and truly. Some people might care, but like what you're doing is detrimental to yourself because it not only does it show a lack of professionalism, I would say massively. It's also sometimes it shows. It depends how you word the tweet. Sometimes it shows a lack of accountability. I'd say as well. That's very big. I think in this scene, a lot of players are very guilty of you blame everything other than yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's,
I was going to say, because me and Rich, we see a lot of those tweets in general. Yeah. It does come across a little bit like that. I understand where it's coming from, but it's like it's everybody else's fault, but not mine.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people do. I've done it myself. I'll be completely honest. I've been guilty of it multiple times. But then when you put the tweet out, you sit in bed and you're thinking, what have I gained from tweeting that? You get a couple likes, whatever. Who cares? That doesn't do anything for me. I'd rather showcase. Obviously, you want to showcase how you truly feel, which is great. You still can do that, but you can do it in a way that it's not just you blaming the game.
I said this to Rich as well before. I still feel like in the FIFA scene, especially, there's this thing about like if you go and speak out about the game really negatively, you're like this cult hero. Yeah. And because you get a couple of extra likes, it just fuels your ego. Do you know what I mean? And there's people that still will do that now, and like. It's like they're this hero. They're speaking about the game, but it doesn't achieve anything. You can have a better conversation at an event with someone from EA or from whatever game developer it is, and have a conversation there. Do you know what I mean? Other than just sort of chasing the likes, because you're right. It doesn't do anything for you.
You get, as I said, you get a few likes. You get the people, the casual players that like it because they see it as you standing up for yourself in the game. That's not, in my opinion, the way to go about it.
This might end up getting cut. Can we? You're good friends with someone who did that. Yeah. Who spoke negatively about the game. Kurt. Not heard from him for a long time. How is he doing? I know you speak to him pretty frequently.
Yeah, Kurt's good. Obviously, for me, tracking back to like the FIFA stuff, he's the best player I've ever played.
Wow. Without
a shadow of doubt. And I played Tex, I played Anders, I played everybody. Kurt, for me,
he could have won it in that year.
He lost. He came against DOS.
Yeah.
So obviously when I won that tournament, but I don't think people realise how. Could you imagine a world right now where he wins that world championship? And like
the skies will be red. Like it would be. Honestly, the world would have turned upside down if Kurt had done that. But for me, the best player I've ever played, and he already had that persona before I even met him. I saw his Twitter account. It was about like the best player in the world, etc. In person, lovely person. I think people don't understand that. He's such a nice guy.
We've had a few good conversations with him. Yeah. Like he's very. I think every time I've spoken to him, his main thing was he just wants the game to be
that's all he cares
as good
about.
as possible.
He has great intentions, but the way he puts them across sometimes is just a bit wrong. And as I said, going on to how much of a good person he is, I remember getting over to Munich, the first event. As I said, he was in my group, and I forgot an adapter, a charger. And he literally scaled with me the whole of Munich to try and find a charger at night to help me get it. Didn't have to do that. I'm literally playing the next day against him. He could have just been like, stuff you. Your phone's going to die at night. It's just, he helped. He helped a lot.
Does he still watch?
I don't know. he probably does, because Kurt's a massive football fan.
Yeah.
So obviously that will transition into video games as well. So for me, I would expect him to be watching. He might deny it, but
he loves Anders, doesn't he?
Oh, he loves Anders. The biggest fan. Before, way back. I'm talking from multiple FIFAs ago. Before his foot champion streak, that far back, Kurt saw Anders streaming and he was like, this kid is the guy. He's the next up.
I think it angles in niceness about sort of personalities in FIFA esports, because as much as Kurt, you're absolutely right, in person, very different to the online persona. You know, we've been called out in videos before, me and him, but then in person, very nice guy. Do you know what I mean?
Nice guy, yeah.
But he's probably that first real personality that we saw. That, like, when he was on stream, numbers went up, alongside the superstars like Tex.
Yeah.
But then since then, Anders Vergang come onto the scene. This guy that is not afraid to celebrate, is young, you know, is naive, is very passionate. You know, this guy was winning tournaments all across Denmark for headsets to PlayStation 5s.
Yeah.
You're a massive fan of him as well. Like, how important is a personality like that to this scene, especially heading into FC Pro now?
Yeah, you need it. You need a lot of personalities in the scene. And I think a lot of players are reserved. I've done it myself. I've been reserved for the majority of times. But I guess that's just down to how people conduct themselves and their personalities. But as I said, with Kurt and Anders, they're very expressive in the moment, whether it's positive or negative. The outburst is there instantly, which is good for production wise. Obviously, for their own, I guess, what would I say, professionalism in some senses.
Brand.
Yeah, their own brand. Sometimes it could look a bit bad, but again, when it comes to Anders, obviously it's a bit different. Kurt's intentions have always been, he just wants the game to be as skillful. He wants the skill gap to be as big as possible, and that was it.
Do you think that there's sometimes an over worry about? Again, it's a you can't really win in the situation, but of how good of a sportsman you need to be in this game. Like, I know it's esports, but like, you're right. Like, some people have got this mindset that they're going to be really respectful, which is great.
Yeah.
But then you have that in, you know, what's in the game's in the game, and then as soon as you get out of that, Anders is a different person. You know 100%, what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and I feel like a lot of people in the scene. I think it's more frequent now. I would say it is very friendly in terms of in person. You lose against your opponent, you're always going to be a good sportsman. You're going to shake hands with them and etc. But I feel as if sometimes, like, I've done it myself. I played against somebody in Bucharest. I didn't like the way they played against me, and I'm not shaking his hand. He's come up to. I'm just walking off. I'm not shaking his hand. What's the point? It's not a good game.
I think I haven't got it out to hand, but there's another tweet you said. At least you said in the words of scummy FIFA players.
I don't remember this.
I think you got eliminated from a tournament, but you just said at least. No, I think you're speaking about a winner of a tournament. You went, at least he doesn't play like scummy, for example.
I don't remember. There's that many. I genuinely don't remember that one.
We'll keep this conversation going about sort of the personalities, because now in your position that you've been on numerous different broadcasts where it's your job to maybe highlight that personality of those players. From the broadcast perspective, from being a commentator, how did that come about? Like, who gave you the call for that first one?
Funny story, I don't actually remember. Everyone asked me this. I got asked this actually yesterday. I'm not sure the first time. I want to say it was actually EPREM.
The
one I didn't qualify for.
2021?
The one at
Gfinity, where me and him weren't invited.
I don't remember anything. It just feels like a blur. That whole timeline, I don't really...
I remember it better than you, so I was watching from home. And
I actually think we got asked, Rich, but I think we took another gig.
I think we were busy. Shout out. You had a massive fill. The servers went down, or the game wouldn't load.
I don't remember.
And and I think it was Rachel Stringer were just filling for like 25 minutes.
We're standing up. I remember that.
When you... Firstly, had you ever watched the broadcast before and gone, I could do that?
No, I wouldn't.
Like, did you even think about it?
No, never. My only intention was to play. I didn't think about nothing else.
The bigger question, did you ever listen to us commentate you and go, these guys need to shut up?
Nah, I've not. Again, I have that similar to like when...
Watch it on mute.
I remember you came up to me and you were apologising about like the Denuso clip. Like, of you like saying that Denuso's in London, and I was like, you don't need to apologise for that.
The reason I apologise for that is because you would not believe in my time. Like, I've had messages before about players complaining about that basically they perform terribly, and like they're not sort of perform terribly, and they're not happy about the way that maybe they were spoken about. It's like our job's to give the news, you know.
I don't think I've ever told this story before. We were commentating an event. It was in Paris. It was a big event, and there was two people who were playing. I'll not say their names.
Yeah. But
there was two players who were playing against each other, and it was 0-0 over 2 legs, and it went into extra time. 0-0. I think there was 1 shot on target in the entire 2 legs of FIFA.
Yeah.
To put that into context, you've watched probably about 45 minutes of nothing happening, and we were commentating,
struggling,
and I said, "You've been in this position where you've had maybe a dry game."
Yeah.
I was like, "I'll talk to you about Champions League actually." So we commentating, and I said, "Neither of these two players have tried to win the game. Yeah. They should both be knocked out." Ooh. So I then happened to get a DM from one of the coaches of the player saying something along the lines of, "If you can't appreciate what you're watching, you shouldn't be commentating." And it was just like, we're just speaking our minds in those situations. Yeah. You've commentated, mm-hmm. You never get told anything, what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things like say items, not cards, in when you're doing sort of Ultimate Team events, but nothing is ever scripted.
Yeah.
We're just allowed to speak our mind and we're allowed to say what we think. And I thought it was very funny how someone got that. Must have been triggered a nerve in someone.
For them to mess, yeah.
I think the key thing is as well, like, for being honest, like, all that we're doing here at esports is entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. And that year of FIFA, don't get me wrong, it did not play well to pros. You know, it was 0-0. Remember a game that you were involved in, Foot-Head Cup?
Against Venny.
You against Venny. Did you have a trilogy near enough of 0-0?
I think it was 4. I think it was 4 0-0 games in a row. And funny enough, I had to leave because there was something that night, I forgot. I think I had to travel back to uni or something. No, it wasn't back to uni. I had to do something. I had to travel somewhere. It was a flight. I had a flight that night and I had to go. And I was like, this game has to be done in this game.
Just for context, Ryan was playing in a $1,000 cup. Me and Richard were commentating on it from home. It was round of 16 players in the tournament. And Ryan's played against a venue, was playing for, I believe, maybe Southampton at the time. 4 games of 0-0. And we went to goal and goal, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was 2 legs of 0-0. Then it was goal and goal, 0-0. And then goal and goal again of 0-0. I remember we were waiting for it in the bracket for ages thinking, when is this game going to be done?
Yeah, that was an awful experience. Because it's just like, it felt as if nothing... You would think that we're both playing defensive. We weren't. We weren't even playing defensive. It's just how the game that year was set up, where it was so... The defensive structure was so regimented and structured. It was so hard to break down. They would just move. You couldn't get anywhere.
Once you've come into this broadcasting space, how do you feel as though... How long did it feel for you to get like comfortable being on camera, talking?
Yeah.
Because everyone sort of said like you picked it up very quickly, like you'd had a lot of experience doing it, which I don't think you had. You were just got brought into it.
Yeah.
But what was it like? And also, did you feel a little bit of now you're not going to be playing? Do you think you'll be a bit more harsh on the players? Like I know sometimes when we be watching maybe a Tex or someone that you know quite well, you maybe hold back ever so slightly.
Yeah, it depends because I'm able to be able to see it from both point of view, and I don't want to be too critical on a player because it's so hard to even make the event.
I agree.
It's so difficult. Like if you've made it there, who am I to criticize anything you've done? But I will criticize the performance that day if they lose or whatever. But I wouldn't like slate their like personal achievements or careers or whatever.
You could criticize a game,
or
the way that someone's played in a game.
Normal, yeah. But in terms of the experience in front of camera, before that, I think it stemmed from hashtag because obviously you're in front of the camera constantly. So before that, I never had a camera in front of my face whatsoever. And in terms of getting comfortable, I would say the first events I was very nervy because I swear quite a lot, genuinely. You would never think it because obviously on broadcast you have to be professional, and I'm professional enough to just switch that part off. But back then I was always cautious. What if I accidentally swear, or what if I do something like that? So then I'm not too cautious of, let's say you mumble up your sentence. That happens in the day-to-day. Like that's very normal. So that doesn't really faze me. I was always scared about just accidentally swearing. So like that was until I got more comfortable doing more broadcasts where I didn't swear. Then I was like, yeah, it's fine.
I think me and Richard would agree that there's certain FIFA players we always say that get it from a media capacity, and we always said that about you. Like you're one of those players that get it. Like when you sign for a club, and if you are earning €7,000 a month, let's say,
I wasn't earning, but
you know, you have to be doing media activities. You have to be doing brand activities, and you can't just expect to sit there and play FIFA. You need to be streaming, to be doing content. So like. I think at City you had to do so much with Shells and whatnot. You understood the game of it, you know, and you understood that, you know, this is how you need to be on camera. But I think for someone that was so natural early on, I think we've not really seen that from so many people. What's been your highlight in terms of commentating so far? Because you've been able to go to Champions League finals, of course, in Sweden, in Istanbul as well. I mean, you've had the pleasure of working with us, whether that was a pleasure or not. What's been the highlights, and what have you really enjoyed about maybe seeing it from a different side?
Yeah, I'd probably say the amount of effort that goes into it behind the scenes. You don't really appreciate it in terms of not even just what we do, but like the people that produce the content that are behind the scenes. They're doing all of the stream stuff and everything. There's so much that goes into it. The hours they put in is crazy. Like even Rachel, when she was hosting, it looks like it's easy, but she's able to like remember everything. And then same with you guys, you remember stats and jot down everything, and it comes out. So it's not as easy as it looks. But I'd say the key, honestly, I enjoyed every event I'm part of. I mainly enjoy them. The ones I don't enjoy though are the ones that are like 10-hour long. We just sat there it's so long. It feels like it's repetitive.
What about commentating from home? Where's that on the list for you?
Kind of low, because my mum knocking on the door, can I help with the shopping? I'm like, someone's opened the door. I've told you, I'm broadcasting.
We did an event from home. And I don't think you were on it. It was just me and Ryan. And it must be really hot. Your window were open, and the kids playing outside. Every like 4 seconds, just hear a woo.
I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. It's just so awkward because, from home, even competing at home, hate it. Completely hate it, because as I said, there'll be little things where the door knocks. My mum's not home. I have to get up and get the door, and I'm like in a game. There was a time I was in a penalty shootout, right, to make an event. Penalty shootout. Literally, my mum comes in. So you can't help me with the shopping? I'm like, I'm literally I won. I won the game, but like she's asking me to help with the shopping and stuff, and I'm like, Mum, I've told you, like I'm in a game.
And you get a 30-second pause as well.
I can't just.
Well, some of the have you had any low moments during the commentary, or sort of funny moments where things haven't gone to plan?
Ooh, I don't know. I think the worst ones, as you said, is just the background noise from home. Yeah, and like things that haven't gone to plan. This.
Internet dropping mid-broadcast.
I've had that before. You've had that as well. Yeah. We both have that. I've had, internet problems. I've had once, because I had like this, they didn't like it when my door was in the backdrop. So I had like this fake wall type thing up. And I remember I was talking, and lucky, the moment that they switched cameras to someone else, the whole setup fell. Everything's falling, cameras are falling, everything. And I'm like, I'm just hoping that because you couldn't, it was online. I think it was with you, Rich, but you couldn't see me because you were talking like on the screen.
You just went to me.
And I was just hoping whoever's behind the scenes don't click my camera, because it's complete pitch black and there's no backdrop.
There was a broadcast that we did quite recently where we were doing it from home, the virtual Bundesliga. And it was a long broadcast. Me, Brandon, and a guy called Alex, and we were commentating, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Like, I'm going to have to eat something. So I ordered Subway. It came. I managed to get it delivered, but then about 3 minutes later, I had to go back on. So all you can hear down the mic on a live broadcast is just me scrunching up the paper.
We're pretty good though. It's like, if I know Rich has got, a Subway there, I'll say, right, I'll take the attack, mate. You have a bite and you enjoy your Subway. Pick it back up.
The amount of times Brandon's messaged me, especially when we're doing stuff from home, we're like, okay, I need to go put the food in the oven. You just take this next 10 minutes of gameplay.
So speaking of commentary then, so where is your mind at right now? You're hanging up the control, as we said in the first part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to do, commentary, no doubt, fingers crossed, will continue to be a big part of your work and your career, but like, what do you want to be seen as? Where do you want to be do you still want to be in the FIFA Pro scene still?
I'm obviously not planning to compete. I'm always going to have like an obvious interest in the pro scene, without doubt. That's whether I play or I don't play. That always, just because of my love for the game and also the friends I've made alongside it. I want to see them do well. I can't even list all of them, but the usuals like Stokes, Shells, Ethan, everybody. So I'd want them all to do really well. But in terms of what to be known as, that's tough, because obviously I love being able to be part of the broadcast with you guys and stuff. So that's obviously an opportunity, if available, I'll take with both hands. But my aim, I'd say in the last couple of years, I haven't enjoyed competing. So like, it felt, my number one thing is how can I word this? It felt like FIFA felt like a job to me, where beforehand it wasn't a job. It felt like I'm waking up, I'm doing the thing that I love and I'm getting paid for it, which is incredible. But now it felt as if I'm waking up similarly to like, I have to do this and I don't want to do it. So then that's when I kind of knew I need to step away. I wouldn't step away mid-season. I don't think that's fair. But like at the end of the season, I'm an honest person. I would be just like, even if City weren't planning to do anything in that sense, like getting rid of us, I probably would have said, I don't know if I want to do that. If there's an opportunity to do other things, I'm happy to do that. But I don't really want to play.
If Shells makes the first event,
yeah,
he goes, Ryan, I want you to coach me.
No.
But you can be on the commentary team.
No, I'm not doing it. Because I don't want to coach. That's what I'm saying. Right. I want to do things I want to do. Like streaming, I love doing. I'm really enjoying learning to edit, so I want to upload like YouTube shorts. I haven't started Instagram Reels yet because
I'm not sure you do love streaming, Ryan.
I love it. Trust me.
Live for a year.
The reason why I don't love it, I know what you're gonna say because of the streaming there before. That again felt like a job to me. That felt like a job. I felt like I had to do it, and it was. I don't like being forced to. It just doesn't feel.
It's different from like a sort of passion, enjoyment, you know.
Yeah, and that drained me. That took the life out of me for about a year, 2 years. I kid you not.
So, bit of context on there. So, about a couple of years ago, there's a group of FIFA creators, pros that signed streaming exclusive deals.
Yeah.
Us three here were part of that. And I think I'm the only one that survived. I really still enjoy it there. But for both of you, like, and in general, like at the time, I don't think there wasn't enough viewers anyway, regardless. But like, I remember you started on this platform, you were grinding. You weren't on camera at the time.
Yeah, the first couple of months were fine, completely fine. I had a schedule, it was going great. And then there was a month I think I was away for a couple of weeks, and I came back and I had to fit in those set hours in those 2 weeks, and it was awful. And I just remember thinking, Lord, I can't do this. There was a time where it was so bad I can't even go to the ins and outs because I might get in trouble. It felt strenuous, but I'm obviously grateful for the opportunity. I would never regret taking the opportunity. That was unbelievable to even be offered that.
Especially during the time. It was right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
I saw it as sort of, it's in a world where events is what our main income is. It was a guaranteed source of income.
Yeah, of course.
In a very sort of unguaranteed time of life.
Yeah, and I think,
as you said, I'll be forever grateful for that.
Yeah.
In the first half, we talked about not realising potential and opportunity. I think both of us can say that we didn't
100%.
take that potential.
No, did not.
But as you said, now you've sort of moved on to a new chapter. You're back streaming on twitch.tv. You're making YouTube content. Do you think content creation is that thing that it's going to reignite the fire? Would you even say you fell out of love with FIFA?
I'd say yeah. From FIFA 21 to 23, 100%, yeah. But I wouldn't say, I say it got better. Like last year, I felt like I had the urge again, so I was practicing more. But 22, I didn't play the game.
Wow.
I swear to you, I would just rock up to court. I did not practice. Nothing. Or if I did practice, you can tell anyway. I know what you're going to say.
That's why you're commentating.
I know what you're going to say. But yeah, genuinely didn't play the game. Like I played 2v2. Like I said, 2v2, I love it. I absolutely love playing 2v2. Even if we played with Shells, obviously, in tournaments. But playing with other people, it was fine as well. So for me, that was a key aspect. But I did fall out of love with it. And that's where I thought, all right, I must step away and do things I enjoy. And content, as I said, learning how to edit. Yeah.
I think if you speak about like streamers, you look at Tom Stokes, for example, the success that he has, consistency, isn't it? It's just consistency, turning up every day. Like as I said before, like for you, I still feel there's such an opportunity for current pros, past pros to literally just be consistent at something and you will just reap the rewards. So say if I said a year from now, across the board, where do you want to be at in terms of like maybe like any achievements you want to hit on certain platforms?
For achievements for me, it's not even about followers or anything like that. I just want to achieve something like a personal goal of streaming X amount of days in a row or X amount of times per month, X amount of hours, producing how many TikTok or YouTube videos per month and being consistent over a year period. It's all good and well doing it for 1 month. I've done it before for a month, but I stopped. So then there's something about being consistent, which I've lacked. And even though it's the streaming though, before that, the only time the most I've ever streamed on Twitch, I used to stream once a week here and there. So bearing in mind, that's gone now into a multi-hour deal, which I've never done before. The most I would stream sometimes is 4 hours. Sometimes that's the only stream a month. And now I'm doing 20 times those hours. And
it has to be a lifestyle. Yeah. Like, as much as difficult as because you'll have like those moments where it's 9 o'clock and you're thinking, I don't want to stream right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just, it has to be part of your lifestyle. And I
100%.
think
that's where my stream starts.
But no, definitely, I think, look, there's opportunities there. And I think short form right now, what a time to be alive. There's money to be made. And I think you've already done it briefly last year and you saw the numbers you were getting. So just got to keep at it.
No, it's true.
We've got a FIFA EAFC sort of expert in the room. Brandon, no, Ryan. We're going into a new chapter of esports, in particular with EAFC and sort of everything that's going to come out, FC Pro and the Open and whatnot. What, in your opinion, you've seen it from numerous different sides, you've seen it from an org, you've seen it from a club, you've seen it from a player, from a broadcast perspective. What needs to improve and where do we need to go in order to get back to maybe the numbers that we were seeing in FIFA 19, where we were 3,000 at the O2 Arena, 100,000 pretty often,
very often
on Twitch, lots of interaction with streamers, with pro players, with YouTubers. Like, what do you think we need to do? Where do we improve? Where do we go?
For me, there's been a very clear, I would say, distance between pro players and other people in the community, whether that's casuals, whether that's content creators, anyone. I think there's a massive gap between it. It's very, very different. For example, even if you relate it to when Foot Champs rewards, when it was 14-0, used to get monthly rewards. People used to watch that because they couldn't attain it. It was like, oh my God, this person's got 40. I can barely get 20 wins. He must be unbelievable. So I want to tune into his streams, his videos to watch how to improve, how to get those rewards to bolster my team. And for them, it would be just for obviously the casual sake, just getting a better team than your friend or getting the best players that you enjoy. But now that's been taken away and it doesn't look like it's coming back with the way it's going. But even things like you have the first event, for example, an FC Pro, whenever that is, and it's at the start of the year. But then you got pro players who are using R9 Ronaldo, they're using Eusebio, they're using Hullet. The casual player is never going to be able to attain that. Some majority of casual players won't even see those cards the whole year. Or if they do it, it's at the very end, the last stages. So for me, there needs to be something relatable where even in FC Pro now, you've got like Dan Juma, for example, the Evolutions card, a pro player using him. And it sort of eliminates the stigma of, oh, you're only a pro because you've got the best team and you're using the best team. I think it's very relatable. Just things like that where it can relate to the community a lot more. Whereas now I just felt like, or previously, there's a huge disparity.
As always, on this podcast, we have Buckley's big question.
Okay.
This week, you've been a player, Ryan, that has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe even when the performances weren't up to scratch. For pros out there, for upcoming players, for semi-pro players, for amateur players.
Yeah.
Other than performance, strictly performance, what other elements do people need to do in order to sustain a long career in esports?
To sustain a long career, genuinely, it's completely irrelevant on your level. If you want to be within the scene and to make a mark and a foothold in it, you have to be creating content. Whether that's long form through YouTube videos, series that you make, there's many people that do Road to Glory series, there's many different things online. Or whether it's short form, just posting tips and tricks or reward videos or things like that and being consistent with it, you're going to grow. Like, for me, I'm not really, obviously numbers are very important because that's how you stimulate the growth. But I don't really look at the numbers initially because, again, that can all just plummet if you're not consistent. You could start off with 2 viewers and then over the year, the next year you might be at 100 viewers and then the next year you're at 300 and then 1,000. It grows because they know they're going to be able to see you. You've got a schedule. I'm live at 5 p.m. every single day or 4 days a week. So they know to tune in 5 p.m. that day. You're going to be there no matter what. And obviously streaming is good, but again, I think the schedule is a very important part because there's no point turning up at 9 p.m. and the next day it's 10 a.m. You're going to get completely different. They don't know when you're live. You need to have a strict schedule, stick to it, and then the numbers will happen.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll check in with producer Dave. How long have we got left?
3 minutes.
Last 3 minutes of the podcast. What else do you want to ask him? I was going to just add on to that point as well. I think there's 2 ways to sustain the career, in my opinion. I think results constantly as a player,
of course,
or maybe one event a year, but have unbelievable social channels.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like unbelievable social channels, consistently uploading, as you said, streaming and whatnot. Because in the nicest way for teams, that's what's making their money. Brand deals, activations and stuff. Like, that's how it is.
2 minutes left. Quick fire.
Okay, go on.
Tex or Dasari?
Might be here for longer than... I can't do that, Rich. I can't do it. Oh, you asked me who I prefer? Or
no, just the question's a question, Ryan.
Texas had a better peak, but I have to say Dos because of the World Cup.
Favourite current Arsenal player?
Martinelli. Big fanboy of Martinelli. Honestly, unbelievable.
Okay. EAFC. Who's the best player you're going to pack?
I feel a good icon, you know. I feel it. I'm going to say Zico. He's new this year. Might get some of that luck that you've been getting. So, yeah.
Shout out Yaya Toure. Yeah. Final one from me. How many TikTok followers in 365 days' time will Ryan Pessoa have?
I'm going to say, so I'm at around, I don't actually know what I'm at, 20-something thousand. I'm going to say 50,000.
Nah, you can do a oneer.
You think?
I reckon 100K.
Yeah, that'd be unbelievable.
Might upload a few times, but you'll get there.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for being on the podcast. That's been 90 minutes into the life of Ryan Pessoa, ex-pro player now, current EAFC commentator, content creator, and overall just a lot of great insight, Richard.
Yeah, a great guy, and another fantastic, may I say, episode of the Full 90 podcast.